Missy, you have to unmute.
Yes. When I'm a double muted, I have a double microphone here. Well, good morning, everyone. It's June 13th, and it's still the year of manifestation. And it's so nice to be with family. And we want to welcome everybody. We want to welcome all our visitors and guests and newcomers. And if you're a newcomer, we're so glad you're here. We're glad we found you, and we're glad that you found us. And we want to welcome you and hope you come back again. Today, of course, like I said, is June 13th, and our themes for the month: the law of mind, the law of perfect balance, and is the medium of all action. So let's settle back, take a quick sip of water or coffee, take a breath, put your hand on your heart space if you want, and close your eyes, and just take an in-breath of spirit and just settle back. And while you settle back, Jim will play us some wonderful music to lead us into the depth of spirit and meditation.
Caught in the lowest level of the 7 deadly hells of my own device. Got here on my own, didn't follow a leader or some bad advice. I'm alone, surrounded by the lonely who make this place their home. And I will stay till I find my wings and fly away. Till I find my wings and fly away.
Did you hear that? It's time to find your wings and fly. You don't have to hunt for the wings, they're there. The law of mind is the law of perfect balance, is the medium of all action, and all you have to do is accept that your wings are there and fly. You are the butterfly, and the butterfly is the symbol of transformation. And it's time to shake off the past, time to shake off what was, and step into what is, the isness of all creation. It's time to fly, to open the door, to step off the cliff and fly, because you have the wings and you can do it. I know you can. I know. And in this knowingness, all is truly well and in divine order. And so be it. And so we let it be so. And so it is. So now we ask the Reverend Lujuana L.J. Bull to do our spiritual thought for today.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you, thank you. When I read the themes for this month, the the feel of it was with our founders. I felt it as the communication style and of our founders, the law of correspondence and other laws that we were introduced to as principles in the science of mind way back in the beginning. And so I found something by Fenwick Holmes, and it's from the Law of Mind in Action, Daily Lessons and Treatments. And he says, we can come to only one conclusion. The way to cure the ills and wants and evils of life is to forget them, and in their place to set the mind on the beautiful, the good, and the true. These become your ideal and automatically solve your problem. Whenever you are presented with a problem of lack in anything, simply select the good or positive factor which before was lacking, and center your mind on that to the exclusion of everything else. I know that sounds almost counterintuitive when you first hear it, when I first heard it. It's like, what? You know, I'm supposed to be pounding on this problem until it submits, not releasing the problem and surrendering to more possibilities that are already going on inside us. Every time we're ill, we want to be well. Every time we feel like we don't have enough resources, we want those resources. It's already built into us, the call of our well-being, of our prosperity, our abundance, of our peace, of our creative expression, and absolutely of our right relationships with each other, always. Joe and I, as I shared with you, we like those opportunity type shows, and I was watching America's Got Talent, and there was a woman that came on the show, and she was very slender, very, very slender. And she has this short little haircut, and she said her name was Jane, and I can't remember her last name. I don't think she said it at the time. And she says, and when she sings, she goes by Nightbird. And she sang her song. And her song was beautiful, and it was about the trials she's experienced in the last year, and that it's okay. And the trials she experienced in the last year were related to cancer. After she performed, she said she was given a 2% chance of survival. And she goes, 2% is not zero. And she had these two quotes that she gave right after she was singing. One of them was, it's important that everyone knows that I'm so much more than the bad things that happen to me. And the other one that she said was, you can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. And the feeling tone of her expression, as Angie says, it's not the words. The feeling tone of her expression was just a gift. It was such a gift. So I've been sharing with you that my life's been, very busy for the last couple of weeks. Mentally, a lot of work going on. Don't have to go into it, but just recently I thought, let's add some physical effort too. So the last couple of days, Joe and I have been helping, I hope we're helping, our neighbor, who is, he's being the carpenter to our closet project, and we're so grateful for him. And but physically, I was the painter, and it was exhausting. So I like that I balanced it out. I had the mental tired, and then we added the physical tired. I was sleeping hard. I hope Joe was too, because there could have been some logs being sawed right there in the sleep process. But what I've been noticing is I've been in the witness mode more often, and just recognizing, like on one of the commutes to work, I was in my conversations and prayers and listenings with God, and I said, I trust this, and I said it. I don't even remember what I was saying. I trusted. I trust in God for this, and my mind was a yes, but something in my body says, no, you don't. No, you don't really trust in this moment what you're saying you trust. Good try. But there was a little bit of yes, no. And when I recognized that there was the yes, no, I could have been hard on myself, but I didn't. And I would say that's the years of this beautiful teaching, that eventually it gave me some chops, some spiritual chops, to not be hard on myself because there was a yes, no. Instead, what I did is I said, okay, what can I say that I truly do trust, that I have no attached to it? And I started doing that. So on my commute, I started running through those things that I do trust in God, do trust in life, do trust that they are activities of for us, or for life, or as life, with life. And I started listing them. And before I knew it, a shift had occurred. I also wanted to say that I love when the word mind is used of old, and I'm saying of old because it was very much of its time when it was being introduced. When I hear the word mind introduced, I think of not only thought, I think of feelings. So I'd like to coin the new phrase, I think of feelings. Yes, the feelings that go on within us, because our thoughts and our feelings truly do have this unified field relationship inside of us. And so so that's a playful thing I just thought I'd toss out there. Joe, how are your feelings today? And I want to remind us all of the Wizard of Oz and how Toto knew to look behind the curtain when they were all standing there with the wizard. And he was pushing those levers, and the smoke and the sound and the big massive face was going on in front of him. And Toto looked behind, he goes, oh, ignore the man behind the curtain. And and then Toto keeps just opening that up. And as we know in that story, the lion already had his courage. The Tin Man already had his heart. The Scarecrow already had his brain. And Dorothy already had Kansas and her family. Already. And so when I hear our themes, that's what comes to mind. No, my feelings. That's what comes in my feelings. Bless you all. And so it is.
Thank you, LJ. It was interesting because it's the yes, no. It's like it wasn't a no. It was yes, no. Which, and then when you focus on yeses, it reminded me of count your blessings, name them one by one. So then it's like you focus on the positive, focus on all the yeses, and then you find that the no's just start disappearing because there's so many yeses, and that's such a good remembrance, a good reminder for us. And then when you pull back that curtain, you really find out that the big scary things aren't really as scary as you thought, and that you had all those yeses that you had inside of you just overcome that what you thought was scary behind the curtain. And thank you so much for that. That's that was your spiritual thought was really a grand thing today. Thank you. Like going to the Emerald City, something to think about over the rainbow. And now I'd like to ask Jim to bless us with some more of his wonderful music.
You may have spoken too soon, because today is the first time I've not I had a what do you call it? I try to follow the themes, and so far I've been at least close. This one I was no clue. So I'm familiar with laws of physics and in Buddhism the laws of causality, but I'm unfamiliar and ignorant of the law of mind and things. I think I'm going to hear more about, and hopefully so. And as a apology for that, I'm writing, or here's a song about someone who has a lot of he's trying really hard, but pretty ignorant of some things. So it's called Judgment Day. On a rainy summer's evening, the good Lord called me home. He said, "Hi, come sit beside me. Let's look at what you've done. Don't be nervous. Have some popcorn. Relax, kick off your shoes. Then we'll watch my home movies right after the evening news. Did you finish the things you wanted? Did you discover my existence? You weren't the smartest man I made, but you sure did have persistence. There's a good one. What were you thinking? I really like that line. Were you sober? Or were you drinking? Or were you like that all the time? Here's the best part. Where you fall down, get up and fall again. Those really weren't such bad ideas, but your timing was awful, my friend. Did you finish the things you wanted? Did you discover my existence? You weren't the smartest man I made, but you sure did have persistence. Well, it was sweet, it was touching, the love you won and lost, and the love that you gave right back, well, I know it was worth the cost. If you want, you can stay with me. Lord knows you paid your dues. But eternity, it's a very long time, so be careful how you choose. Did you finish the things you wanted? Did you discover my existence? You weren't the smartest man I made, but you sure did have persistence. Did you finish the things you wanted? Did you discover my existence? You weren't the smartest man I made, but you sure did have persistence.
Jim, I think that was perfect. In the one things I found this last week was that Ernest Holmes, in his seminar lectures, he said that mind is consciousness, and in the growing into expansion of consciousness, you need persistence. You really do on the spiritual journey, and in order to do that with persistence, that's where you find the medium of all action. In order to act and find that perfect balance within consciousness, you need persistence. So heck yeah, that's a perfect song for today. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
And now our wonderful speaker for today. Take it away, Reverend Bob Hand.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to start today talking about a young man named Will. And Will had a great life. He was a senior in high school. And he had a lot of friends. He was fun to be around. He did excellent academic work. He was highly rated, and he was an outstanding athlete. His life was going well. His father was a bishop in the Church of the Brethren, and his plan then was to go to Yale, probably Yale Divinity School, but he hadn't decided whether he wanted to go in to become a minister or maybe go on and become a teacher. And it was all just pretty much as good as it could be. And then he was playing hockey and he got hit in the face with a hockey stick. It was a pretty devastating injury. And he dropped out of school and stayed home. Now, it ended up healing. It wasn't as bad as they first thought it would be. But in that process of staying home, he also developed digestive problems and some kind of minimum, but some heart problems. And then his mother was diagnosed with tuberculosis. And so he decided he was going to stay at home and take care of her. And he did that right up to the point till she passed away. And he just went into a major depression. He didn't want to go out at all. He didn't want to do anything. And Will had several siblings, but one brother was particularly close to him. And that brother finally convinced him, hey, go into business with me. Let's start a newspaper. And so they got together. Will got himself out and doing it. And they started this small local newspaper, but they just couldn't make it work. They worked and worked at it, but it wasn't successful. So they had to close it down. And then they had all of this printing equipment. So they thought, well, we'll start a printing company instead. And so they would print things for people, and that went pretty well. I mean, it was a successful business, wasn't making them rich or anything, but it worked. But they didn't really like it. And Will's brother got into this new kind of hobby. That was just at the point where bicycles went from the ones with the great big giant wheels to what they were calling safety bicycles, the kind we have now were two equal wheels. And his brother said, well, let's get into that. That's a growing thing that people are interested in. So they sold their printing business and started a bicycle shop and a bicycle store and repair shop. And that went really well, and they just loved it. And what they really liked was going back there and tinkering with the parts of the bicycle and stuff and kind of creating new things. And that led them into a different business that I don't really need to talk to you about, because all I need to do is tell you that his friends called him Will, but his name was Wilbur, and his brother was Orville. And it was Wilbur and Orville Wright. And so, as you know, they made the first plane that flew well. And that made me think of perfect balance. Was his life in perfect balance? I mean, he started out where everything was great. I mean, he was on a trajectory that he thought was going to lead to Yale and to great things. And then it just came tumbling down, and injury and illness and his mother passing away and depression and starting a business that failed. And yet it went on until he and his brother became two of the most famous people in the United States. And was that perfect balance? You know, we tend to think of perfect as the things we like, the things we label as good. And so the perfect life is the one that's always smooth, that we're always happy. And I've been to presentations by motivational speakers and others saying, yes, you can reach this level of spirituality where everything's perfect, where you're always joyful and things are good. But I have my doubts about that. For those of you who have joined together with us in the spiritual discussion group, one of the things I typically say there somewhere along the line is that, yes, the ultimate reality is the oneness. We all know that. And sometimes we say everything's in that oneness, all things, all energies. That's not really technically correct, because the oneness doesn't have things, it doesn't have energies, it has no distinctions. It just is. But the potential of all things is in the oneness. And that energy that creates all things is in the oneness. And so you have that level of oneness, and one step down, you have the level of two-ness. I just made up that word. I love it. I can make up words too. The level of two-ness, the yin and the yang. And that's the manifest world. And so we know that the ultimate reality of oneness is always there, but the oneness created the manifest world. And what is the ultimate distinction between the pure oneness and the manifest world? It's that in the manifest world, we have that level of original diversity, that beginning, the building blocks of our physical world is the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the male and the female, and they're always there. And so the oneness is made up of the eternal pure light. But manifest reality is made up of the ongoing interplay of the light and dark. That's it. There must be that interplay of the yin and yang, the light and the dark. In manifest reality, there is no up without down. There is no right without left. There is no joy without sadness. And thinking about this interplay of the manifest world made me think of a time Angie and I met with Walter Starkey. I was talking with Angie about this the other day. I know some of you know him. Walter Starkey was a very successful businessman. And then he went into the business of acting, and he wasn't the actor himself, but he was a producer and director on Broadway. He was actually the assistant director when The King and I played on Broadway, and he discovered, in effect, Paul Newman. He got him his first agent. He got Paul Newman his first agent. When I met him, he didn't suggest getting me an agent, though. But and then he got into New Thought. And when he got into New Thought, he got his doctorate from Emerson Institute, of course. And then at one point, he invited Anton to have their annual meeting at his retreat just outside of San Antonio in Texas. And again, I imagine a few of you were at that retreat. And during this several-day retreat, at one point, Angie and I sat down with Walter Starkey, and we're talking to him. And he said to us, well, at this one point he was talking about, he said, I was diagnosed with cancer. And he said, and of course we said, wow, that must have been really hard on you. And he said, no, actually it wasn't. He said, it didn't make me sad or angry. He said, things were going great. But my thought was, wow, this is an adventure. That's what this life is. And God has given me a new adventure. And I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what I'm going to experience, but it's all part of the journey that I'm taking. And he understood that perfect balance isn't all good. It's that interplay of the good and bad, if you will. Angie has talked about life as a teeter-totter. And I'm pretty much an expert on teeter-totters. When I was young, played on them a lot. And you can be up above everybody else. And you can be all the way down and bump your bottom on the ground. And in a teeter-totter, you can be straight across, perfectly balanced. But you know what? Being perfectly balanced isn't what a teeter-totter is about. It's not the essence of the teeter-totter. The essence is that going up and down. And the essence of life is that going up and down. That's what it's about. Now, we can try in our lives, what we can do is go seek being perfectly balanced. We can try to be on that teeter-totter that doesn't move. We can try to stack everything up so it's perfectly balanced, but that is not the state of the manifest world. The manifest world is about change, not being static. And so instead of seeking what I'll say is perfectly balanced, we can seek perfect balance. And perfect balance is when you're going up and down, and in your mind, you accept that. You know that none of these are permanent states of being. We can be up, we can be a balance, and we can be down. And when we're down, when we're all the way down on the ground, we can stay there a while if we want to. We can choose to be down at the bottom and not do anything about it, if that's what we choose. But we can also choose to kick off and move up. We can choose to be like the Wright brothers, like Wilbur Wright, who was down all the way as low as he could get, and he kicked up, and he went up, but he didn't go all the way up. And he kicked up again, and he kicked up again until he was soaring in the sky and in the light. And we can choose to keep kicking up until we're soaring in the divine light, and we're reflecting that light to all we know. Thank you.
Gosh, I like that. It's like when you're going down, it's really going up. You know, it's all our perception. And I like that because we're so used to thinking that when it's not moving, it's at a balance point, but that's really static because we're not moving. And if you're not moving in life, then you're not evolving. You're not growing, because expansion in spiritual life is movement. And the going up and down, and then it's like, what's our response to life? Thank you so much, Bob. That's given me a lot to think about. I really like that. And so next time I like that, because at Christmas one time, Dad gave us a teeter-totter, and I can remember getting on the teeter-totter, and Mary was on the other end, of course, and she got off, and I went, but that's another story. But anyway, thank you so much about the growth and the possibilities of just change. Thank you. All right, now it's time for our offertory, and in the chat box I put the where you can send your offertory, and I'd like you to join me in our offertory prayer, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. And I love the blessing, because what you bless multiplies. And I really want to thank you all for continuing to give to PLC, because it pays the rent. It pays the fixing up of our home. So I thank you. And I know that it's coming back to you all triple multiplied. Are there any announcements from anybody? Do I see any raised hands? Let's see. Practitioner of the day is LJ. And I'm looking at my, and let's see. Next week's speaker is Reverend Kim. So Reverend Kim Haley is our speaker next week. And nothing else. So let me go ahead and I ask you to join with me in our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And Reverend Sandy, can you lead us out the door with one of your wonderful prayers?
Ooh, Angie, if you'll unmute, and then I'll start the prayer, and then if you'll finish it, and we'll give them a double whammy today. How's that? Oh, as we come together in family, do you feel the love? Do you feel the connection? The joy as we all share wisdom and experiences? It's so important. It's so important to know how it works, what it looks like, that there is never a failure, only success, only learning, only experiencing. And I accept this for all of us, this clarity of mind and heart and being. And now as we go forth, we make such a big difference in this world. And I am so thankful for all of us and for all that we share and all that we give. And Angie, if you take over, please.
We accept right here now this tremendous opportunity we have to experience this ever-changing world of form, the creation of all that there is through the great oneness of all that there is. We're grateful that we are a dimension of infinite possibilities as we travel this physical universe. We know that we are unlimited potential, and we accept the fact that life is a teeter-totter. We're here to experience not only the fun and joy things that we experience, but to experience those things that may be considered dark. But we still accept that because that's what drives us into that greater knowingness, that we are one with this eternal consciousness, this love energy. So basically, looking at all of it, we accept the fact that we are love only, and so it is.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was a wonderful Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Oh, have a great day.